Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. And about 20 minutes late, I set it for 6, but I wasn't really planning on coming on here at 6 anyway. I was listening to the news and looking through the newspaper. But now here we are, Sunday morning, New England Bowl Sunday, right? It's 6:20 a.m. Central Time, and at 5:40 p.m. Central Standard Time, we've got and that's Minneapolis' Central Time also, we've got the New England Bowl in the new stadium. I've never been in the new stadium in Minneapolis. I have been to the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, but for 2 baseball games, Twins. I did go to the Target Field when they opened that stadium, that ballpark, for Twins games. So I've been to 3 games in Minneapolis. I live about a mile from the Mississippi River, and Target Field is about a mile from the river, and I walked. Yeah, that's another story. But I was able to, all 3 times I went to Minneapolis, I was able to park for free. Yep, it can be done. Plus, they had great ticket specials when they used to play at the Metrodome. But anyway, this morning, we've got Ancient Age 80 proof bourbon. There's a 90 proof. There's also Ancient Age 10 star, 6-year age. But this is the standard edition, 3-year aged base model, which is sold all around where I live. I bought this bottle at Mathern's, and it was $9.99, and that's the typical price around here, $9.99 up to $10.99. You can get a cheaper deal if you buy the big 1,750 milliliter bottle, because then you're only paying about $15.99 for the big old bottle. And now the Ancient Age Preferred has showed up in my town, here in St. John the Baptist Parish at Winn-Dixie, the big handle 1,750 milliliter bottle. We're going to get back to Preferred down the road. Apparently, the Ancient Age Preferred has been around just as long as the Ancient Age Bourbon, since 1936. It's just their blended version. Okay. And we have the Redemption High Rye. So we got 1 bourbon introduced in 1936 and 1 introduced in 2010. Long time later. Okay. You can see the condensation on the bottle, maybe. It was chilly yesterday, damp and kind of chilly, but as the evening went on, it warmed up. I was hot while I was sleeping, and I noticed this morning that there was condensation on all the windows. So I went outside to get the newspaper. It was very warm outside, so I started opening the windows. Well, the humidity came in. You see it's got the bottle sweating. It's 68 degrees. I know your house is supposed to be dry, but I like fresh air. I can't stand just be cooped up in the house. So I got the windows open. And it's going to be damp now. You know that. It's a humid place. Okay. They're both amber. They don't have typical alcohol legs. They don't look any different from one from the other. So Ancient Age is aged 3 years. It's a sour mash bourbon. It's from Buffalo Trace Distillery. Redemption High Rye is aged 1 year, 1 whole year in Indiana. Okay, so it's from Indiana. So this is from Kentucky. That's from Indiana. It's not a straight bourbon. It is just a standard bourbon. which actually does not require an age. If you look at the Tax and Trade Bureau requirements. So this is Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, and that is Indiana bourbon whiskey. Okay. You might know that Ancient Age is a high rye product relative to other 3-year-old bourbons. So there may not be that big of a difference. Now, I've had some catastrophic little, if you want to call it catastrophic failures with this redemption. 2 of the bourbons I put it up against, I got them mixed up. I got it mixed up with the one I did yesterday, the what was that one? It was another Sazerac brand. And I just don't think it's that remarkable or different. So why would you pay $24 when you could pay, you know, 10? I would not. Okay, let's go out with the, let's go with, well, let's mix them up. There's a lot of parades today starting at 11 a.m. in New Orleans. I'm not going to go because I don't think anybody else is going to want to go that I know of because of this, the New England Bowl coming on. And but it's going to be kind of warm, overcast. It won't be too sunny and hot. Like once that sun comes out, you're standing on that parade route. It can be a little difficult. And they're going to be running all afternoon. King Arthur, Carrollton, Allah, Femme Fatale, I think is one. And then there's Caesar and Metairie. Not Caesar, what's the one in Metairie? But I don't know how they're going to have any people going to this at 6 o'clock during the New England Bowl. So I don't know if anybody's going to be watching that parade. Dancing Dog 60. Hey, DD 60. Good morning, Ron. Question. Why do you think Old Milwaukee is so difficult to find? Because the popularity just kept going down, 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 and then Pabst just kind of gave up on it and just sticks it out there wherever without any promotion. I can get it. I can get Old Milwaukee, but it's not sold too much around here. Maybe there's one place in this parish that sells it. There's a few places in New Orleans that sells it, like in the suitcases or the 6-pack of pint cans. I was at a place on the West Bank Thursday, on the West Bank of the Mississippi River. I was out west in the Western United States. And they had 24-pack suitcases, fresh too, not bad dates, good dates of Schaefer Light. That's another one that you can't find, Schaefer. We only get Schaefer Light, but some places around here do sell it. Mainly 24 packs, the suitcases, $17.99 Schaefer Light. But I'm not going to pay that when I can get Milwaukee's Best for $15.99. Milwaukee's Best Light. Looks like Milwaukee's Best Ice is not going to come back around here in the 30 packs. I have a feeling it's not coming back because the last 2 I went to buy were bad dated. They were out of date, and I told the store about it. And I said, I'll just buy them anyway. And then the store manager said, oh, no, we're not selling those. He's coming to pick those up. I said, no, I don't mind. But I know what he's going to do. He's going to come over there, and he picked them up. I noticed that when I went to buy milk yesterday. He picked them up, and he's not going to reorder them. He's going to say, nobody wants that ice. And it's just going to be the light and the premium on the shelf. So I shouldn't have said anything, right? I should have just bought it. But I didn't want to buy old beer, although it'd be good in a can up to a year after the date. But I guess I talk too much. I could buy the quart cans, which would be cheaper by the ounce, but then, you got to drink the whole quart can. I don't know. It's irritating to me because I always did like that ice. The ice has more character than the premium. The premium's okay. I have to go pretty far to find Miller High Life Light. Well, it's been replaced by Milwaukee's Best Light. We get them both here, right next to each other. Busch Light, Milwaukee's Best Light, Miller High Life Light. And the Miller High Life Light is very cheap. In the bottles, you can get bottles, 12-pack bottles for $7.79, $7.65, or the cans. Bottles or cans, doesn't matter. Same thing, we can get Budweiser Select cans or bottles. Only at Walmart. I can find Schaefer every once in a while. Yeah, it's the regular Schaefer. We haven't gotten the regular Schaefer here since about 1999. I hate to say it. Maybe 2000. Okay, let's go with the smell and taste test. This one smells a little caramel-y, sweet, candy-like. It smells like ancient age, to tell you the truth. Although this one is not remarkably different. What did I say about this dang Redemption High Rye? It's not remarkable. It's not bad, but it's $23. Huh? Okay, so maybe there's a little more spice in the nose here. I don't know. Let's check them out. Yeah, I think that one has a little more spice already, but I have no confidence in this taste test because I've got them mixed up twice already. So, oh, that was the Jethro T. Boots yesterday. That's right. And that's age 4 years sour mash. And I thought it was the Redemption, and I thought the Redemption was it. So, I mean, all right. You might be able to hear that owl. He's hooting, but I wonder if he'll make a screech. That tastes pretty standard. Ancient Age. Ancient Age is a really nice bourbon for $9.99. You really don't pay any more for it than you would a blended whiskey. It's the same price point. It's just like whatever you want to buy. If you want to buy a blended bourbon or straight bourbon or a blended American blended whiskey, you paid about the same price for about around here, about 30 different brands. There's about 30 different brands they carry around here at various stores that you could get. And you're going to pay about $10 a bottle everywhere. But you can go cheaper. You can go to Walmart and get Canadian Limited for they had it for $7.49 a bottle. No joke. Or you can go to Racetrack and get a bottle of, and everybody sells this around here, the Heaven Hill blended whiskey. Heaven Hill, you know, that old-timey label. It was like wood, like a wood placard. And it's $6.49 for a bottle of blended whiskeys. Yeah, so really the price, I'm saying $10. It really ranges from $6.50 a bottle to $10. So you can buy a lot of stuff here for less than $10. A lot of stuff. And not just whiskey. Gin, brandy, well, only Hartley brandy, but brandy, no, take that back. Walmart has Paul Masson VS, you know, for $9.99. Vodka, everybody has Skull vodka. Taka vodka. It's all $8.99, $7.99. Walmart has the Caliber line. Caliber, they're all $9.96. I bought it for $5.96. I think they had it mispriced, but that was their problem. It rang up. They said that's what it is, and then a week later it was $9.96. So you can make a whole video channel career out of liquor of any sort that's under $10 a bottle. I mean, if you'd want to do that, other people would never dream of doing something like that. Okay, I like to do the expensive, cheap, middle. I haven't done many expensive ones because I've been so caught up in the cheap ones. There's so many. I'm trying to climb the ladder, but I can't get off the bottom rung. You know what I mean? I keep stumbling and going back to the bottom rung. Oh, well. You know, you watch some video reviewers, some beer reviewers or whiskey. They only do the best stuff. They only review the most expensive beers. And then you watch the video and they say, well, how wonderful it is. Well, of course it's going to be wonderful. It ought to be. And then occasionally they'll say, it's not quite as great as it ought to be. It's still pretty awesome. I'm trying to figure out the purpose of that. I say, why I mean, everybody knows it's going to be the best. I mean, you're reviewing the best. It's the best. So you just watch one video after the other, and this is awesome. It's great. It was $18 a bottle. This one's great. Okay. Well, it ought to be. I don't know. That's just my preference. I'd rather watch viewers that cover all the bases. I mean, if you get on like Yelp or TripAdvisor, right? Yelp and TripAdvisor or Google Maps, their own rating system. They don't just rate the best places. Each town, you know, you can get a review of Knights Inn or the Hyatt Regency, you know, or Sheraton, or, you know, Marriott, JW Marriott. You can get all that. Of course, the reviews for Knights Inn will usually be like, don't stay here. It was horrible. We were scared. But then you get other people saying, oh, don't listen to those people. They're crazy. They think they're staying at, you know, Crown Plaza. But they wanted to pay $39.99. They thought they were staying at Crown Plaza. What did they think that it was going to be awesome? You can kind of figure out the way the places are if you look at the reviews from the last year. I mean, if they're all universally bad, then you might want to avoid it because usually it'll live up to that. But it's those off-the-wall reviews that don't match up. It's sort of like with beer and liquor and wine. And people rag on Rate Beer and Beer Advocate, and I do too. But if you read the actual reviews from, say, like the last month, usually they're pretty good. They're pretty intelligent. And then you just get that one crazy review that skews the score. So rum, I actually like Captain Morgan when having a dark and stormy. Yeah, I've never had rum in my life. I like having a dark and stormy when I have a cold. It's as good as cold medicine. And yes, I like the cheap stuff too, says DD60. All right, I'm trying to talk through this because I'm having trouble figuring them out. There's a lot of wood there. Wood. And then a lot of rye spice. Let me get this on my tongue here. It's kind of like the same thing. That's the key, the blind taste test. I've got people coming at me sometimes, you know, oh, you're stupid, you know, you have an agenda or whatever, you know, blah, blah, blah. I do have an agenda. It's to taste different products and tell you what I think about them. That's the only agenda. You might have a different one. But I'll tell them, I said, well, you're just saying I'm wrong. You don't know if I'm wrong because you don't do any blind taste tests. So where's your channel? Like, get on here and do it. I mean, maybe you'll be better than me. You might be a way better reviewer. I don't know, but do something. Don't just talk about other people. Oh, this one does this wrong, that one does that wrong. What about you? Well, I just watch. Oh, okay. And you might say, well, they have a right to do that. They have a right to watch videos and just critique everybody. This is true. They do have that right. And I have a right to tell them they ought to do their own channel and not just talk, but act. I have a right to rebuttal, right? Then you got the Facebook groups that don't allow rebuttal. You know what I mean? As long as you go with the program, you can be part of the group. But if you deviate from the norm, you're out, Jack. You get expelled and you won't get rebuttal or a chance for it. They'll just say, you're this and that. You're such and such. Well, they're not going to allow a rebuttal because then they can't control the narrative, right? You get these megalomania, and Facebook is perfect for megalomania because you could start a group and you'll get a group of camp followers, right? These glasses, I got to clean them, but you get your camp followers who are they want, like a friend of mine said, they want validation. So they're going to go along, whatever the commander says, they're going to go along with it. They're going to go along with it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ha, 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 ha. Oh, we love you, man. And there isn't going to be any divergence of thought because you control the narrative. Now, I do run some Facebook groups, but I don't control the narrative. I'm not a megalomaniac, so I don't, it's not like you're out if you don't play the game. Like Rock and Roll Club, anybody can be in that. I mean, obviously, you would think, right, that people would want to post rock music, but you get some little peculiar people in there that join Rock and Roll Club, and then they complain about all the rock music being posted. Like, why don't y'all like blues? It's like, you could start a blues group and then play all that. So, you know, don't go after people that like rock music and you joined a rock club. So, you know, but I still didn't kick the guy out. Everybody just says, okay. What did he say? Nobody wants to hear Van Halen. It's like, really? Maybe you don't want to hear him, but literally everybody else in the group does. Or Alcohol Eggs. I have that Facebook group, Alcohol Eggs, and you're welcome to join. And everybody does not agree on the same stuff. Some people say, well, I hate that beer, or I like that beer, or, you know, I think craft beer is such and such, or whatever. And no one is obligated to agree. There's a divergence of thought. Makes sense, right? In an open forum. That's why I call it a real group. It's an actual group. There's a lot of fake groups. Like one guy told me, I don't want you in my whiskey group because I don't like you. Well, it's not a whiskey group. You should qualify you should qualify your group description. We hang out and talk about drinks, except for people I personally don't like. You know, qualify your group. But we have no such rule in mind. And there's other really good groups on Facebook. Beer Drinkers United, the League of Extraordinary Beer Drinkers. They're pretty cool, you know. But they'll tell you, we really only want craft beer. And then you get some troll people, they'll join and immediately put Milwaukee's best. Well, they're doing that to be an ass. And they get kicked out. And they'll say, they kicked me out for no good reason. No, they kicked you out for a good reason, because they told you up front it's a craft beer group, and you did that just to make trouble. We have some people that will join Rock and Roll Club and Alcohol Eggs to make trouble, but they mostly just get ignored, so then they disappear on their own. We don't have to kick them out, because when nobody takes the bait, right? No one takes the bait. They just go on and bother somebody else. So it kind of works out pretty well, really. It's very pleasant. There is another rock and roll group I'm in, and the guy that runs it, he's a real problem. He's one of the megalomania types, you know, like, it's my way or you're out. He shouldn't call it a rock group. He just should name it after himself. Call it so-and-so group. But I stayed in it just so I could show all the record albums I own. But once I'm finished with that, and that's coming up soon, I'm not going to participate. I don't like that kind of attitude where, you know, real arrogant, ugly towards people. If they disagree with him in any way, he kicks them out. It's sort of like totalitarian rock club. You know what I mean? Sort of like being part of the Khmer Rouge in 1976. You could be part of the party. You can be part of Kampuchea, but you might get shot in the head because you looked at somebody funny. So anyway, I can't really tell these apart. I'll be honest. I don't see much difference. You might think Redemption High Rye is awesome, and that's good. And you should pay $23 a bottle if you think it's awesome. But yet you could probably drink Ancient Age and save a lot of money. It's just as good. I mean, I think this is Ancient Age because it's slightly. We're talking on a scale of 1 to 100. It might be 2 out of 100 different. The other 98% is the same. It's practically the same, honestly. So I think it's ancient age, but I don't put any stock in what I'm saying because it's just a meaningless. Yeah, it's ancient age, but if you want to buy a bourbon that takes you 30 minutes to figure out which is which, well, it took me 25 minutes. Then go ahead, but I wouldn't do it. I got to say this. Redemption High Rye is not doing very well in these taste challenges, is it? It's uppriced, mid-price, $23 a bottle, and you can't tell it from the cheap stuff. Can't tell it apart. I can't. You might be able to. You might have a great, you might have a much better palate than I do. No, you might take note that I never claimed that I had a good palate. Nowhere in my channel did I ever claim I had a good palate. I just claimed that I did honest reviews. That's all I said. I have no reason to lie. I never said I was good at it. Anyway, that being said, that aside, I think next we'll do the benchmark. McAfee's benchmark, old number 7. It used to be called Seagram's benchmark. That was the Seagram's bourbon that they came out with in the 1960s because they wanted to get into the bourbon game, even though bourbon really wasn't that popular then. So they made a cheap bourbon, and it did okay. And then when Seagram's fell apart in 2000, Sazerac came in and bought it, and they rebranded it as McAfee's. Some obscure guy from the history of bourbon production. But McAfee, this fellow McAfee, had nothing to do with benchmark, okay? His name was appropriated. You know how people talk about cultural appropriation? Like, do not go to Cinco de Mayo and wear a Mexican hat. That's cultural appropriation. Cinco de Mayo is basically cultural appropriation because it's not really a holiday in Mexico. It's like a nothing holiday in Mexico. It was made an American holiday by people that wanted to sell beer and Mexican food in May during a slow period. You want to be honest. So why would it be wrong to use cultural appropriation during a culturally appropriated celebration, right? The whole thing is almost a scam. Okay, yep, I disagree with Albino Rhino on Tecate, but I respect that he just doesn't care for it. Oh, well, I love it, but I like his reviews. He's just being honest. That's right. Yep, he doesn't really do reviews anymore, though, unfortunately. That kind of went away. Used to be every day, I'd see another Albino Rhino review. Usually it was beers I never had, so I didn't watch them. But when it was on occasion beers I've had, I watched them. They were always enjoyable, Max Walt. Hi, Ron. Glad to see you. Well, hello, Maxwell. Glad to see you. Well, so that's it. So we got benchmark coming up. McAfee's, so-called McAfee's benchmark, $8.99 a bottle. I don't think the Redemption is going to be able to beat it. Might tie it. Then we'll try Old Crow. Let's say Old Crow. Probably won't be much difference. Although I don't think the Jim Beam products, the Beam Suntory products are particularly high rye. So that could make a little bit of a difference. Now you see, it's the Sazerac that has all that high rye now. Then we'll look at, how about Jim Beam Original? That's going to be a little different because, Jim Beam has that mossy. It's like moss, like humidity and mold. It's like a mold. You say mold, yes. And if you go to these distilleries, all the barrels are covered with mold, and there's mold all over the place on all the street signs and everything. There's black mold. Something about humidity and different weather patterns and aging whiskey attracts mold. So yes, it does have a moldy nature to it. Then we'll do Jim Beam Choice. I don't think that, well, actually the Jim Beam Choice will probably beat it, and that's $10 cheaper. And then we'll try Jack Daniels. I don't think it's going to taste anything like Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels is unique. Some people love it, other people hate it. I'm sort of indifferent to it. I certainly don't hate Jack Daniels. I don't run behind it. I'm not a cheerleader for it. I'm not Frank Sinatra. I don't drink a bottle a day, but seems nice to me. It's overpriced. And then we have Jack Daniel's Green Label, which is even more interesting than the Black Label, in my opinion. So that's a very big lineup to put up against Redemption, wouldn't you say? Yes, I would say so. Then we're going to take a break from the bourbon and the whiskey, straight whiskey. Then we're going to go with the blended whiskey. And remember I did the Burton American whiskey. Been on the market since 1936. So I would like to put Burton. Yeah, Richard Burton. I mean Barton. What am I talking about? Barton. Barton. I would like to put Barton in play against Carstairs, which is also Sazerac. Beams 8-star, Seagram 7. You know all the blended that I've got, and I got a lot. And so we'll do that. And I'm slowly, probably going to take a month. Going to take about a month. I'm slowly drinking down the Christian Brothers Sacred Bond brandy. Okay, drinking it down. Once that's done, then it's going to ramp up. Okay, so once the Sacred Bond 100 proof brandy is done, the bottled in bond brandy is finished in about a month. Then it's going to, my plans are this is going to really ramp up. We're going to have a bunch of new whiskeys coming into play in a pretty much continuous clip. Okay, that's the game plan. Bunch of different Scotch whiskeys, a bunch of different American blended whiskeys, and a plethora, an enormous amount of Canadian blended whiskeys. And it's just going to be an endless rotation, which you may hate, although no one's causing you to watch these videos, but you may love, and some people enjoy the videos. I like making them. You might like watching. Okay, a powerful winter has come in Moscow. I'm sorry to hear that, Maxwell. What weather do you have? It is relatively warm and humid. It's a little chilly. What I'm wearing is a little too warm for me. That's why I got my sleeves rolled up. I'm about to change clothes. Dancing Dog. Richard Burton was a great actor. Yeah, I like his role in the movie Anne of 1,000 Days about Anne Boleyn. That was a great movie. Talking about megalomania, talked about how not insane. I shouldn't use that term. He knew what he was doing. How evil Henry VIII was, you know. That's another story. It's sad because he was a good guy at one point. But he took a left-hand turn into the depravity and basically come under the thumb of satanic influences. And look what he did to Great Britain, dragging the country down into turmoil and destroying Ireland, you know, with their terrible civil strife, which was put on hold in 1998, their war, but who knows, it could flare up. All because of Henry VIII's megalomania, you see. So you can influence the world in a bad way if you have power and you have no ethics. I wanted to see him face off against Brando in a movie. Oh, yeah. I don't know how that would have worked out. That's two pretty strong personalities. It would have been great to see that back in the day. Yeah, right. No joke. I bet Richard Burton could drink one of these bottles in a day, right? Oh my goodness. And Elizabeth Taylor. Oh, and Frank Sinatra. And Errol Flynn. And Ernest Hemingway. And Hunter S. Thompson, and Keith Richards, and Orson Welles. You know, we're talking about people that could put away a bottle of liquor in one day, you know what I mean? And Jackie Gleason, and Dean Martin. The list goes on, right? The list goes on. All right. Anyway. Unfortunately, and Amy Winehouse, who had a little too much devotion to straight vodka, you know, to vodka. And I mean straight, no mixing with Coca-Cola. Terrible, horrible, horrible story. And the cast of The Dirty Dozen, Lee Marvin. Oh, yeah. Hi. All right. And John Wayne. Hi, Ron. It's good to listen to your opinion of these things. Cheers, says Gurgali. Hello, Gurgali. Kodalani. Good to hear from you. Well, we're finished now. No use dragging it out. I got to go walk a mile and a half today. No big deal. I might get my friend David to come over and do some taste challenges, taste tests. We'll see. I don't know what he's up to, but he might want to come. He's going to be scared to drive, though. He's going to say, I don't want to drive because the state police are going to be out looking for people on this Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah, but I have to drive to your house. They're going to be looking for me. Right? I drove to his place the last 2 times. Steve McQueen was a big old Milwaukee fan. Oh, I didn't know that. I know he was a cigarette fan, right? Oh, yeah. Anne Grace Slick, the singer for Jefferson Airplane, she could knock back a bottle. And she was a small little, she's a small little lady, you know, she was a short little lady. But she would get wrecked, you know. She would drink a bottle of scotch and just get totally out of control. Amazing that she's still alive. You know, getting in a standoff with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, holding a, oh, I'm sorry, the Marin County Sheriff's Department holding a shotgun. Getting tackled by one of the deputies. Totally crazy story. Paul Newman was a Budweiser guy. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought he was a Coors guy. I thought he was big into Coors Banquet. I didn't know. I thought, do not drink and drive, please. We want to see more videos. Right. I'm trying to figure out what to do today. My plan is just to do my normal drinking ritual. But if David wants to come over, it's up to him. Laugh out loud. McQueen, if you Google it, had refrigerators full of old Milwaukee while he'd work on his motorcycles. Oh, okay. Oh, that's a shame. He died at 50 years old in 1980. That was a sad story, right? Oh, man. That was like the coolest dude, right? He was one of the successful Boys Town graduates. Went to Boys Town. He had a bad childhood, but he was a tough guy, man. He could fight you in real life. It wasn't an act. It wasn't really an act. You know what I mean? It like really was tough till cancer got him. And cancer can take away your toughness, right? You think you're bad, but you'll find out what bad is. Oh man. All right. Well, anyway, enough of that. So thanks for watching this video production. What's the final conclusion? Well, you could pay $23 a bottle, or you could pay $9.99 a bottle. And in this case, doesn't make much difference.